Hey, I hope you all are having a great day. Last week we discussed how to talk to your toddlers about money. Some of you asked, how do we now talk to our teenagers about money? So that's actually where we're headed. How do we talk to our teens or our preteens about money? First thing to remember is your kids are always watching you. You're their example for everything in life. So think back in your own life. How your own money mindset was made up is in part based on how your parents actually handled or didn't handle the finances or talking about money. So your kids are going to be watching you. They're going to learn from you and your habits in part. A good resource is called The Opposite of Spoiled by Ron Lieber. It's a good book that kind of goes in part into what we talked about last week and expands on that for older kids as well. Last night I actually talked with my 13-year-old nephew who just finished the Dave Ramsey for Kids course and asked him what some of the most impactful pieces in that course were for him. And he actually mentioned part of what we talked about last week. It was the save, spend, and give sections. So for him, it was helping him establish that budget and siphoning off those things. When you get to older kids, you can let them determine what they want to put in each of those three jars. Most people start out 10% to give, 10% to save, 80% to spend. But for him, he said, Uncle Lance, I don't really care to spend a whole lot. So for me, it was 80% to save, 10% to spend, 10% to give. You know your kids, you know their habits, everything is kind of based on their own preference. If they have things they want to save for, say they want that new PlayStation, help them figure out what the budget's for it's going to be. This is how much it's going to cost based on what your allowance is or what gifts you're getting. This is how long it's going to take for you to get there, and really help them figure out, okay, if I want to do that, this is where I need to kind of maneuver my money to get there. Now, another thing you can do is actually, as kids get to the later stages of high school, think about getting them a credit card. I know, hear me out. It's not because they need free rent of money. One, it'll help them build a little bit of credit going into college age, but also while they're under your roof and your protection, giving them access to a credit card, letting them learn how to figure it out under your watch and care is a lot better than having them make the mistakes of handling a credit card after they've graduated and are trying to figure out, okay, now I've got this thing that just swipes and money appears. So it's better for them to make a mistake under your house when you have control of the statements and their credit limit and things like that in a more controlled environment rather than their first touch the credit card being off on their own. Now there's other things that you can talk with them about, like investments, how to build the budget, different things like that. If you want to talk in more detail about those other topics, feel free to reach out to us here at Next Step. I hope you all have a great rest of the week.